Hey, it's Dan Bauer here. And hey, before you get a chance to leave, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Like if you smash that like button. Anyways, I'm going to get right into it. So today I'm going to talk about Nvidia, Palantir, Tesla, Symbotics, robotics in general, and even part of the pharmaceutical and medical industry. Um, so I'm going to just start with if we think about how much is spent, in 2022, the global spending on pharmaceutical research and development reached approximately 244 billion US dollars. The investment covers all stages of drug development from initial research on disease processes to preclinical testing and clinical trials. Regulatory authorities such as the FDA in the United States oversee and approve drugs during specific phases of this process. Okay, all right. Let's just go wide overview here. And now I want to talk about Nvidia and what have we seen over the past maybe 14 months, 15 months since the Ampere? It's probably been about 13 or 14 months since, maybe a little bit longer, since the birth of the Ampere chip for Nvidia. Now they moved into, and we're just right now we're just on the H100 Grace Hopper super chip. We haven't even moved up to the Blackwell B100 and B200 yet. We haven't even gotten to the H200 yet. Crazy to think about. All right, so when we think about what has happened, I don't know if anybody has seen the Figure 1 robot where it explained what it was doing while it was doing it. But to me, that's mind-blowing. It might be slow and it might not have the dexterity of a human being. Yet, think about what these companies are accomplishing on the H100. Now, think about what they can accomplish on the B200. The compute acceleration is absolutely unbelievable if you truly think about it. So, where am I going with this? I'm going where you have to understand that, if you're investing, if you're not betting on AI, you're missing out on a huge, absolutely massive, 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 massive opportunity. And I'm not talking about just Nvidia. I'm not talking about just Nvidia, even though Nvidia is their software stack along with their hardware is basically they've locked down a monopoly on the game and nobody's going to be able to catch them. They're already so far ahead. And here's why. Because they're in the best position to know how to utilize their next product to be ahead of the competition. Let me say that again. They are in the best position to know how to utilize their next product in order to be ahead of the competition. Why is that important? You might ask. Well, because if you think about it, they can integrate they have integrated their software into their hardware in a way that you're pretty much stuck on Nvidia chips, and AMD doesn't even matter. AMD ain't coming around. AMD ain't going to catch up. And if you think that AMD, the second best chip maker, isn't going to catch up, then what makes you think that freaking Tesla's chips are going to be any better than Nvidia's, Meta's chips, Microsoft's, Amazon's? They're trying, but they can't do it. Why can't they do it? Because Nvidia knows how to use these chips before anybody else even touches them, because they are developing them, so they know how they're going to work and how to use them. Not only are they developing them, but they're testing them before they're producing them, so that way, before they're put into mass production, so that way they know exactly what they're capable of and how to market them and where to price them, right? And so when we think about that, we have to know that because of all of that, they can integrate their software in beforehand and use those chips before anybody else gets to use them to accelerate their their business far ahead of the next guy who's going to try to somehow replicate or beat Nvidia, which, by the way, Amazon, Meta, Tesla, Microsoft, Google, see that they don't specialize in chips. AMD, who specializes in chips and GPUs and gaming and all that, can't even hold a candle to NVIDIA. All right? So we have to understand that. Now, where am I going with this whole thing? Yeah, NVIDIA is probably going to double up from here. There's no doubt about it in my mind. NVIDIA might even triple up. we don't even know the capabilities. That's the thing. We don't know the capabilities of how big and massive this can be. We already know that Nvidia has BioNeMo, and which is why I brought up the pharmaceutical thing, because with BioNeMo, they're going to be integrated into the U.S. and worldwide pharmaceutical research and development segment, right? They're going to be in that, research and development segment, and they're going to be in every hospital and every surgical robotics. Like, you have to understand that Nvidia is a robotics company now too, because their software and their hardware is directly responsible for the capabilities of Figure 1 AI robot, or OpenAI's Figure 1 robot, that's better said, Tesla's Optimus. And by the way, here's where I'm going with Tesla. If you think that anybody else is beating Tesla in robotics, they were there first. They've been working on it first. Okay. Maybe not first, but they were a first mover in the big game here. All right. But here's what Tesla has that all these other people don't have. They have the team. They have the CEO. Most importantly, they have the capability to scale. And even more important than that, they have $16 billion in cash to throw at this. Now, they're not going to throw all $16 billion in cash at it. But even if Tesla only takes 10, 15, 20% of the market, which I think is fully plausible, especially because Optimus is, the capabilities, we don't even know yet how great they can be. Apparently, they're working on the dexterity thing, and they'll get that down. And here's why. If you really think about it, when this Blackwell B200, B100 chip series comes out in the second half of the year, we have to think about FSD. We have to think about robotaxis. Like, Tesla is almost there on the H100 chip and the Dojo. Almost there. But wait, till compute power gets faster and better and more energy efficient. Wait for that. Oh my gosh, everybody's sleeping on this. Think about that. Tesla's getting pummeled right now. And people are sleeping on the Optimus FSD. It's before you couldn't comprehend that this is happening. But now, if you're paying attention, you can comprehend and you can see that this is happening and that Tesla is going to be boom. This whole opportunity with AI, and because Nvidia's chips just changed the freaking game. Okay, it just changed the freaking game. And I think a lot of people are missing that, and they're selling Tesla, and they're missing out. They're jumping on the Nvidia ship right now, and I can't even blame you for jumping on the Nvidia ship, because that bitch is. It's not even out the atmosphere yet. It's still just the very beginning. Like, Jensen Huang said in an interview, I don't know, like a month and a half ago, that there's going to be another $1 trillion in data center spend. Everybody's like, how much more can they grow? How much more? Jensen Huang said there's going to be another $1 trillion in data center spend over the next couple years of this data center build out. And Nvidia is going to keep innovating and keep reigniting. Their growth will slow. Because, can you really keep up with that type of growth over time? No. Are you really gonna grow revenues another 100% from today or last quarter, or what, 22 billion to 44 billion next Q4? That's hard. That's hard to fathom. But could they grow revenue another 50% quarter over quarter? And that's still substantial, absolutely incredible growth. Where does that put their EPS? Their earnings per share, for anybody that doesn't know what EPS is. Where does that put that over time? This is pretty incredible shit. Okay, so now I'm going to get down into to the Tesla, Palantir, Symbotics type thing, because we know that Nvidia has the biggest customers in the world. They got the Tesla, the Google, the Amazon, the ServiceNow, the Salesforce, the Microsoft, the freaking Snowflake, the CrowdStrikes, the Synopsys. They got every company you want as their customers. Every biggest company with the biggest cash piles, they got them all. They got them all. They have to, because in order to scale, in order to not get left in the dust by the other big boys and the other big players, guess what? And you know what? If it weren't for China restrictions by the U.S., Baidu and Alibaba and G.com and all those other companies, they would, in fact, have it. They would, in fact, have it. And so when we think about that, we have to understand that, like, this is a huge, huge deal. So let's get down to Palantir here. I might even look them up. Palantir, when we think about AI and how they're at the cross sections of data and artificial intelligence, right? We have to understand that, like, they keep on keeping on. AI Pecan was pretty good. No new news today. I'm just looking. But what General Mills said, now I don't know what's happening with General Mills because they put something in their cereal that is getting a lot of people to, not buy their cereal. And I don't blame them. Okay. But let's just put it like this. Whether or not, let's just put it like this. General Mills was talking about how much money Palantir was saving them, right? Correct? And then the guy at AI Pecan comes on and he says, we're only using them in a small part of our business. So think about, like, the ability for Palantir to grow and build out and how much money they can make on that opportunity. It's quite incredible if you ask me. It's absolutely incredible if you ask me. And I'm not going to downplay it, not even a little bit, right? So what do you think is going to happen with warehousing and Symbotics, right? Symbotics ability, they have the $23 billion in backlog. They're about to go net income profitable. They're going to switch. They're going to flip this year, guaranteed. Maybe next quarter, if not the next quarter. Within the next couple of quarters, Symbotics is guaranteed to flip over. Now, think about, like, how AI affects that business and what they do with their AI robotics for the warehouse and how that works, right? Think about that. Now, we're going to move on, and we're just going to talk about how this B200, B100, H200 chips, they're just going to propel these companies. They're going to accelerate the digital transformation, the landscape transformation of the entire world. Think about, like, Nvidia's ability to grow even from here. Even though the growth rates may slow, we're looking at any company that's truly involved in AI and that has a moat and are leaders, their bottom lines, and with, like, true growth ahead, their bottom lines and their top lines are going to be incredible. And that's why I like Nvidia, Tesla, Palantir, and Symbotics. Symbotics leads that game in the warehousing industry, and they're backed by Walmart. Now, they don't have a ton of cash, like something like a little bit short of $700 million in cash. That's still a good amount of cash. They're building out. They're going to continue to make this revenue. They're going to continue to build up. Palantir is primed. No debt on the balance sheet. Oh, Symbotics has no debt on the balance sheet. One thing, that's absolutely one thing I love and will continue to talk about over and over. I love companies with low or no, preferably no debt on the balance sheet. It makes a huge difference. Think about, like, your life, all right? And think about if you had debt. Let's say you have a mortgage. And you're paying like $2,000 a month, and you got a decently sized house. It's $2,000 a month. Okay, all right, fine. You got to have some place to live. But doesn't that cripple your ability to grow, invest, or buy the things that you need, especially with how times have gotten? You know what I mean? Think about if you had an extra $2,000 a month. What would that do for your life? Holy smokes. I'll tell you what, if I had an extra $2,000 a month, it'd be an extra $2,000 split between Nvidia, Palantir, Tesla, and Symbotics. Because those are the teams I'm going with. Those are the teams that are winning. You know, you go when you're talking about like Symbotics, like the robot warehousing type thing, you got to go with Symbotics. Why? Because they own the play in the warehousing. They got the biggest players. That's what we need to understand. Nvidia's got the biggest players. Palantir's snagging up the biggest players. Tesla is the biggest player in robots. They have the ability to scale the money to do so, like I said earlier. They're going to have FSD. It's so close. Just imagine them licensing that out to all the OEMs. How revolutionary will that be? Absolutely crazy. And then you look at Symbotic and you're like, they got Walmart, they got Target, they got CNS wholesalers, they got Tiger wholesales, they got INFI, they got the biggest customers in that industry, and they're under so much demand pressure that they can't even pick up more customers. Think about if they got Costco. Think about, companies like UPS, FedEx. Amazon's working on their own robotics. I don't know or see why they would introduce Symbotics, but they might. You never know. You know what I'm saying? You never know. They could introduce their own. The thing about all these smaller warehouses, I'm a UPS tractor trailer driver, so I see them all over the place. The only thing that scares me is the ramifications of AI, and here's why. What are you going to do to the working person, right? Because they are the consumer, and if you start taking their jobs out, where are they going to make money? The job market is going to become extremely competitive. Unemployment is going to rip. And you're going to have a whole lot of consumers with not a whole lot of money. And at that point, what do we do? You know what I mean? That's the part that scares me. Like, think about all the UPS package car drivers out there. If they start replacing UPS package car drivers with Optimuses or Figure One, open AI robots, ooh, you know what I mean? Think about all the jobs, FedEx, Amazon. Think about that. Like, okay, I'm invested in Tesla, so I would definitely benefit from that because the amount of UPS drivers, I mean, there's like probably 300 to 400 package car drivers in my building. You think they're going to let you fly an airplane ever again? A human? When they can stick a freaking, I don't know, a robot in the cockpit that just knows, that just is so much faster and can react so much faster than a human being? And these are the crazy things. These are the scary things. What's going to happen to the consumer? And at that point, how do you afford these robots? You don't. You can't. Because ultimately, we're going to see at first a few, and it's going to increase production for the company, and it's going to create insane profitability because you're not going to alienate the consumer right away. But over time, as you replace and you replace and you replace and you replace and you replace, and all of a sudden your workforce is all Optimuses or all Figure Ones or whoever, right? And you've replaced every single one of your workers with these robots. There's no need for humans at that point, right? But there is, because how are you going to make money if nobody has money? Because nobody has jobs. And that's the scariest part about it to me. But look, I'm going to bet on the winning trade here. And the winning trade is go long the Nvidia, Tesla, Symbotics, Palantirs of the world. And why? Because all the things I just said. They have the biggest customers, Nvidia. Tesla has a consumer base that's going to be huge. When you think about like FSD, they're going to have the biggest OEMs. They're going to have all the cars driving around on Tesla, full self-driving. That in itself is it's insane. You know, think about like all the restrictions on driving as it is now. And they'll fucking say, you know, some stuff about, oh, it's safer. You know, humans shouldn't be allowed to drive now on a car, any car newer than, you know, 2030 or something like that. Once they get it all, or even, you know, or any car older than a 2027 or something like that, where they say, yeah, any car made after 2027 with FSD built in, humans can't drive them. And then they're going to phase out old school cars. They're going to fade out old cars. And that's scary to me, but that's what's happening. And I don't like it one bit because I got a couple older cars that I really like to drive. You know, maybe not all of them are driving right now, but one of them is, you know, and I would like to drive the others when they're fucking drivable and stuff, you know. If you think about it, that's crazy. This is a bit crazy here. This is a bit crazy. That's all I got for this video. I hope you liked it.